quite a bit of research on this next record. I mean, not everything, not every detail on this record, but maybe more than average research on a very controversial song. It was at the time. Highest debut on my fantasy playlist at number 23, Madonna with Like a Prayer. Fantasy playlist of March 18th, 1989. And gosh, Madonna's seventh number one hit from the album Like a Prayer. It was co-produced with Patrick Leonard, one of Madonna's sidekicks, one of her producers. And what else was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. That's why I write my notes. that's why I got to at least consult them. This record was one of her great dance records, but it had a gospel flavor into it. The gospel, the choirs, which boosted the spiritual nature of this song that really took it up into a spiritual plane, right up into the stratosphere. But boy, the video, which was directed by Mary Lambert, who directed some of Madonna's other videos, I think she directed Borderline, was very controversial. There was the cross burning, and there was where she witnessed a murder, and there was also a part where I believe it was Madonna herself, if I remember correctly, kissed a black saint. Oh my goodness, that caused so much controversy. The Vatican condemned the video. Religious groups came down on the video like a ton of bricks. Pepsi was running this song in a commercial. They had to pull it. They were boycotted. They had to break their contract with Madonna. Although Madonna did keep the initial fee. Madonna, I can't. If you weren't around back in the 80s, well, you know, if you were around back in the 60s, you remember just how big the Beatles were. 20 number one hits in the 60s. I mean, they were, excuse me, stupendous. Madonna was not that stratospheric in her success, but you gotta understand, she had become iconic pretty fast. What I'm trying to say is this. Her first top 40 hit, now she had some dance hits in 1982, maybe early 83, but her first top 40 crossover was the glossy Borderline. No, not Borderline, it was Holiday. Went to number 16, number 17 on Billboard's Hot 100. Madonna was an unknown at that time. And when I first heard that record, I was like, man, this is one glossy dance record. This sounds so modern. This is ahead of some of the other dance records that was coming out at the time. And then Madonna blew up in 1984 like you wouldn't believe. Borderline, top 10. Lucky Star, top 10. Material Girl in late 84, early 85. Madonna she mushroomed. It was like a nuclear mushroom of fame. Into the Groove. Remember Into the Groove? That wasn't even put out as a single. But the radio played the hell out of it anyway. One of her standards. And so it is with Like a Prayer at number 23 on my fantasy playlist. This song has a lot of meaning to it. There's several layers to this record. And it reflects Madonna. It reflects her Catholic upbringing, but it reflects Madonna was just brilliant. Let's just face it, she was brilliant at times. Madonna had a robust intellect. She was very bright. And yet she was also very sexual. She was open. Very sexual woman. Very bright. And she was capable, in this record, she was capable of gliding across the spiritual plane. She was having it all ways. This record to her was almost like a celebration, a young girl who celebrates God as he, the male figure in her life. And yet, Madonna wrote this as a pop record with a sexual and religious nature. But underneath that, the deeper meaning, there was a deeper meaning, or there was meanings there that would provoke a response from the audience. They'd be like, oh my God, she's really on about this or on about that. I see. I gotta tell you, one of the guys who, well, the co-producer of this album, the co-producer of this record, Patrick Leonard, he was not happy with the lyrics of this record. He was not, he was, well, he was not pleased with the sexual innuendos. Let me read you a quote real quick. Let me read you a lyric that really got under his skin. This part really bothered him. This is when she was going into the chorus. Let me get into that. Let me get into that lyric. If I can locate that lyric real quick for you, real quick. See, here's another thing I forgot to mention to you about the religious part of it. I read a little something, just a tad about the Catholic religion, not much, but in the context of this song, that Madonna had the belief about the bread. Well, it was the wine and the wafer, which Catholics believed became the body of Christ during Mass. And this had a transformative power for Madonna. And that the prayer itself, well, every line, every word had a precise meaning. Madonna wanted like a prayer to have the same similar transformative power. That's what it meant for her. But there was that sexual nature that bothered Patrick Leonard. And if I could just, bear with me, if I could just locate that lyric. This was when she was going into the chorus. And here's the lyric right here, quote, Madonna wrote this, when you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees. I want to take you there. And, well, Patrick Leonard was aghast when he saw that lyric, because he knew the sexual meaning of that was, well, fellatio. I believe I pronounced that word correctly. I'm not sure. But he wanted her to take that line out. That was, to him, that was over the top. Madonna, you're gonna have to tone this down. She didn't do it. She refused. Madonna had this, I guess 30 years later, I'm still in awe of Madonna, of how she pulled this all off. Although it was controversial, I remember the song that she came out after this, Express Yourself. It wasn't that she combined her intellect, her immense intellect, with the her sexuality, and her spiritual nature, but there was confidence. I could not I marveled at her confidence, particularly in Express Yourself. The video that came after this, to me, this symbolized Madonna. She was on top of the world. She was on top of her game. And all the criticism that was coming at her from all these different directions was ricocheting off of her. At least that was my impression. And I could be wrong. Hell, I'm just starstruck. I'll just admit it. I just am. You're saying, Mr. DJ, this is ridiculous. You're going too deep, man. You know, a DJ did tell me that once. That was too deep. But this was fascinating. Learned just a tad about the Catholic religion, too. But anyway, this is Madonna. Second highest debut on my fantasy playlist at number 23. Like a Prayer on my fantasy playlist back in 1989.